Once upon a time, in a bright and colorful forest, there lived two best friends who looked very different but shared something special. Their names sounded exactly the same. The first friend was a gentle deer named Deer. He had soft brown fur, big bright eyes, and loved to run through the forest, jumping over logs and playing with his friends. Everyone in the forest loved Deer because he was so kind and playful. The second friend was a little letter that loved to write. Her name was Deer. She wasn't a living creature like Deer, but she was very important because she started every letter and note with a warm and friendly greeting, "Dear Mom," or "Dear Friend." She was the way people showed that they cared about someone they were writing to. One day, as Deer was hopping around the forest, he found a piece of paper on the ground. On it, he saw the word, "Deer," written at the top. "That's my friend's name," Deer thought excitedly. But when he looked closer, he realized that even though the word Deer sounded just like his name, it wasn't talking about him at all. He ran to his friend, the wise old owl, and asked, "Why do deer and deer sound the same but look so different?" The owl smiled and said, "Ah, my dear deer, that's because they are homophones. Homophones are special words that sound exactly the same but have different meanings and spellings. Just like you, deer, are an animal, and dear is a way to greet someone in a letter. Even though they sound the same, they each have their own special job." Deer was amazed. "That's so cool. So even though we sound the same, we're different in our own special ways." The wise owl nodded, "Exactly. And that's the magic of homophones." From that day on, Deer proudly told all the animals in the forest about his friend Deer and how they were both part of the wonderful world of homophones. And whenever someone started a letter with "Dear," Deer smiled, knowing he shared something special with his friend. So, when you hear words that sound the same but mean different things, like deer and deer, you can remember that they are called homophones.